Alright, and we're back with another battle report for you. This is 20 points. Cygnar versus Legion. Sloan versus Bethayne. This uses the Anarchy scenario found on our blog. You can find that scenario in a link for it in the description. And we'll start off here showing you the armies. This isn't how the board is set up right away, though. For Cygnar, we got the Black 13, Charger, Lancer, a Cyclone, Sloan, and a unit of mechanics. And over for Legion, we've got the Carnivian, Bethayne and Belphegor, 4 Shredders, and a Sorceress on a Hellion. As you can see, this is how it looks like before setup, and here's what the table looks like after setup. The Anarchy scenario uses random deployment except for the Warcasters. You get to choose where those go. So as you can see, things are pretty chaotic, and let's start the game. So first off, the Carnivian and a couple Shredders both make a full advance. Sorcerer runs up. They're all heading towards the center of the table. Next, one Shredder goes rabid into the Black 13, killing Lynch and Ryan both. And then the other Shredder goes rabid and attacks Sloan, but does no damage. And then Belphegor takes a melee attack at the Charger, ends up doing about 15 damage. Bethayne then casts a Spoiler and Carnivore, and Flesh Melds with Belphegor. Watts of the Black 13 takes a shot at the Shredder and does about 10 damage to it. Lancer turns around and attacks Belphegor but doesn't do any damage. The Lancer on the far end of the table makes an advance over towards Belphegor. The mechanics run and try to stay out of the range of the Spoiler effect. Meanwhile, Sloan makes an attack at the Shredder that's harassing her, does a couple of damage. Then the Cyclone goes and finishes that Shredder off. So for Legion turn 2, Bethayne upkeeps Carnivore. We look over towards the center of the table, and the Sorceress makes a full advance, takes a spray towards the Charger, and ends up killing one of the Gobber mechanics. The 2 Shredders and the Carnivian both make a full advance, again trying to make their way across the battlefield. Bethayne, or Belphegor, or whatever you want to call it, anyway, makes a melee attack into the mechanics, kills 2 of them, and casts Tenacity on himself, or herself, or itself. And then heals the Shredder for 2. Meanwhile, in the woods, the other Shredder goes rabid, attacks Watts, kills him, and has him for a delicious snack. The mechanic starts Cygnar turn 2 by making an advance and repairing the Charger for 5 damage. The Charger, who's now out of melee reach with Belphegor, makes a ranged shot, but does no damage. The Lancer makes a full advance into Belphegor and attacks in melee, but does no damage either. Cyclone then makes a full advance, takes some shots into the Shredder, which kills it off. Then takes a range attack at Belphegor, which misses, and ends up hitting the Lancer for 4 damage instead. Sloan then casts Return Fire on both herself and the Cyclone, makes a full advance. The 2 remaining Shredders both make a full advance and rile up for 2 each. The Carnivian makes a full advance as well and riles up for 3. Bethayne advances towards the center of the table, pops her feet, casts Eruption of Spines at the Charger. It ends up killing all the remaining mechanics, 3 damage to the Charger, 2 to the Lancer, and then she casts Tenacity on herself. The Sorceress on the Hellion makes an advance, sprays the Lancer, dealing 10 damage to it, and 1 damage to the Charger. Belphegor tries to headbutt the Lancer, it's a miss, and then he uses the Spoiler. The Charger attacks Belphegor and does about 8 damage to him, and then of course the Spoiler kicks off, dealing 1 damage back. The Lancer melee attacks Belphegor but does no damage, and of course takes a point from the Spoiler. Cyclone then makes an advance and shoots up another Shredder into bits, and then Sloan makes a full advance, tries to shoot, I believe, Bethayne, and misses. So for Legion turn 4, the Carnivian ends up frenzying and decides to eat the remaining Shredder for lunch. The Sorceress makes a full advance and casts Wind Ravager right in the face of the Cyclone. Bethayne makes an advance as well and tries to cast Gallows at Sloan 2 times, missing both times. And then Belphegor attacks the Charger for 4 damage. The Charger and the Lancer both attack Belphegor. They only both combine to a total of 1 damage to it. Cyclone tries a 2-handed throw on the Nis Sorceress and the Hellion and just misses totally. So Sloan makes an advance, casts Refuge, and then shoots Bethany for 16 damage, who transfers it all over to the Carnivean. Sorceress starts Legion's turn 5 by using her spray attack, magic spray attack, does 2 damage to the Cyclone and 2 to Sloan. Bethany advances over into the ruins and heals Belphegor for a point. Carnivean then charges the Cyclone and sprays him for 7 damage, and then finally ends up just killing him in melee. And Belphegor takes out the Charger and then deals 7 damage to the Lancer. Signar's on the ropes now, but Bethany doesn't have any fury left on her, and it's Signar's turn 5. So Kara goes, pops her feet, takes a ranged attack at Bethany, and ends up killing her off, because, again, she didn't have any fury to transfer the damage. And that's the game. So we pick our MVPs for the game. I chose Kara for being able to pull off the assassination even when things were looking really grim, and Sean chose the Nist Sorceress on the Hellion for being able to deal a decent amount of damage, as well as some control effects with Ruined Ravager and her different abilities. Some final thoughts on the game. The scenario was very chaotic early on, but Sean and I both were able to pull our armies together and become more cohesive as the battle progressed. Overall, it was an exciting game, and Signar was really on the ropes there, and just being able to seize that one opening sometimes will pull the win for you, so that's something you got to look for when you're playing Warmachine and Hordes. And that ends this battle report. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, make sure to like us with the little button down below the video. Again, you can check out the scenario through the description underneath the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. We're always looking for subscribers. That just helps us know that more people are enjoying what they're seeing. Again, make sure to check out our blog, TableTopGamers.blogspot.com. There's more scenarios coming on the way, which will bring us well over a dozen. Actually, I think we have more than a dozen right now. So check those out, and stay tuned. We'll have more.